The rain pelted against the corrugated metal of the abandoned warehouse as three figures huddled together in the shadows. Zara, the eldest of the Keltharian sisters, wrapped her gossamer wings tighter around her siblings, trying to shield them from the cold droplets that seeped through the rusted roof. Her normally luminescent skin had dulled to a sickly gray, and her once proud antennae drooped with exhaustion. "I'm hungry," whispered Lixa, the middle sister, her voice barely audible above the storm. At only 12 cycles old, she was still young by Keltharian standards, her wings not yet fully developed. Beside her, little Mira, barely 7 cycles, shivered against the concrete floor, her tiny form racked with fever. Zara's heart ached as she looked at her sisters. 3 months had passed since the hegemony had declared their homeworld a strategic resource zone, forcing every Keltharian into exile or worse. They had been among the lucky ones who escaped, but luck only carried you so far when you had no money, no connections, and belonged to a species most of the galaxy viewed as little more than beautiful curiosities. The sound of footsteps echoed through the warehouse, and Zara tensed, pulling her sisters closer. Most species avoided Keltharians now. Their association with the rebellion had made them pariahs. But these footsteps sounded different, heavier, more deliberate. A beam of light cut through the darkness, and Zara squinted against its glare. Behind it, she could make out a tall figure in a worn leather jacket, water dripping from his dark hair. "Easy there," came a gentle voice with an unfamiliar accent. "I'm not here to hurt you." The human, for that's what he had to be, Zara realized, lowered his flashlight and approached slowly, his hands visible and empty. She had heard of humans, of course, the newest species to achieve faster-than-light travel, barely 2 centuries into their space age. Most considered them primitive, violent, unpredictable. "My name's Alexander," he said, crouching down a safe distance away. "Alexander Chen. I was doing my security rounds when I heard voices." "Are you hurt?" Zara studied his face in the dim light. His brown eyes held no malice, only concern. Still, she remained silent, her protective instincts overriding everything else. Alexander seemed to understand her hesitation. Instead of pressing closer, he shrugged off his jacket and held it out. "Your little one there looks cold," he observed quietly. This might help. The gesture caught Zara off guard. In her experience, other species either wanted something from Keltharians or wanted them gone entirely. No one simply offered help. We have nothing to give in return." Zara managed, her voice hoarse from disuse. Alexander smiled, and it transformed his entire face. "Did I ask for anything?" Before Zara could respond, Mira stirred in her arms, mumbling deliriously in their native tongue. Alexander's expression grew more serious as he took in the youngest sister's condition. "She needs medical attention," he said firmly. "And all of you need proper shelter." "Come on, where?" Zara asked suspiciously. "My place. It's not much, but it's warm and dry." Alexander stood and extended his hand. "I know you have no reason to trust me, but your sister won't last long in this cold." The next few hours passed in a blur. Alexander's apartment was indeed modest, 2 rooms above a noodle shop in the merchant quarter. But it was clean and warm. He gave up his bed for the sisters and worked through the night, using his limited medical supplies to bring down Mira's fever while preparing hot soup and tea. "Why are you helping us?" Zara asked as dawn broke through the small window. Mira was sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks, and Lixa had finally stopped shivering. Alexander paused in his tea preparation. "My grandmother used to tell me stories," he said slowly, "about her childhood during the war, when her family fled their homeland. She said the only thing that kept them alive was the kindness of strangers who had no obligation to help but did anyway." He handed her a steaming cup. "She always said that kindness was the most human thing we could do." Over the following days, Alexander proved his words true. He brought medicine for Mira, found work for Zara translating in the merchant quarter, and even convinced the noodle shop owner below to let Lixa help in the kitchen for meals. He never asked for their story, never pressed for details about their past, simply accepted their presence as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "You could get in trouble," Zara warned him one evening. "The hegemony has agents everywhere, harboring Keltharian refugees." "Let me worry about that," Alexander replied, settling down with a data pad full of employment listings. "I found a few more translator positions. Your linguistic skills are in high demand." It was then that Zara truly understood. This human, this supposedly primitive being, possessed something that all the advanced civilizations in the galaxy seemed to have lost. The simple conviction that helping others was worth any risk. Months later, when Zara had saved enough money to secure proper housing and Mira had fully recovered, she tried to thank Alexander properly. He just smiled that same transformative smile and shook his head. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "Just pass it on someday. Help someone else who needs it." As they prepared to leave his small apartment, Lixa turned back to Alexander with tears in her eyes. "Will we see you again?" "Of course," he replied without hesitation. "Family doesn't just disappear." And in that moment, Zara realized he was right. They had found something more valuable than shelter in Alexander's kindness. They had found what it truly meant to be human. Not the species, but the spirit. The willingness to sacrifice for strangers, to show compassion without expectation of reward, to stand up for those who couldn't stand up for themselves. The galaxy might fear humanity's potential for violence, but Zara knew better. Their true strength lay not in their weapons or their ambition, but in their capacity to see suffering and choose to act. In a universe that had grown cold and calculating, humans remained beautifully, stubbornly compassionate. As the three sisters walked into their new life, they carried with them not just Alexander's kindness, but the promise to embody it themselves. After all, they had learned from the best teacher possible, a human who proved that sometimes the most advanced thing you can do is simply care.